In the scorching heat of Africa, at a UN peacekeeping camp, there's a Japanese self-defense force member diligently carrying out his mission. His name is Shunsuke Kimura, a 38-year-old staff sergeant. Once a member of the Special Forces, he was forced into a difficult situation due to family circumstances, leading him to volunteer for overseas deployment. Back home, he had a mother living alone and a younger brother whose tuition he could barely afford. Every night, clutching his phone, Shunsuke would comfort his mother, always saying, "Mom, please wait a little longer. Once I'm back, our lives will get a little better." However, something extraordinary was about to happen to this seemingly ordinary Japanese self-defense force member. He would accidentally save a female merchant from local soldiers threatening her. And who was this merchant? None other than one of the highest commanders of the camp. What fate awaited Shunsuke? The courage he showed in a fleeting moment would completely change his entire life. Before we begin the story, if you could press the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up, it would make today a day full of happiness. Let's begin now. The UN peacekeeping camp in the heart of Africa was always filled with scorching sunlight and fierce sandstorms. Amidst it all, Shunsuke was diligently carrying out his duties. Shunsuke, a 38-year-old staff sergeant, was originally from the Special Forces. However, family circumstances became dire, forcing him into a difficult situation, and he ended up volunteering for overseas deployment to Africa. Every morning at 6 a.m., he would wake up before the other soldiers and inspect the camp's perimeter. The desert dawn was cold, but Shunsuke's expression was always calm. His colleagues saw him as just a quiet Japanese soldier and knew little of his past in the Special Forces. In Shunsuke's quarters, there was a single family photo. In the black and white image, his hunchback mother and his smiling brother were visible. Gazing at the photo, Shunsuke would take out his satellite phone. "Mom, it's me. How are you doing?" His voice was cautious. From the other end of the line, he could hear coughing. "Oh, Shunsuke, Mom is fine. Just don't get hurt over there, okay? Don't worry, Mom. I'm safe here. Is your brother going to school properly?" I worry about him too. His tuition fees are behind, and the school contacted me." Shunsuke's heart skipped a beat, but he forced a cheerful tone. "Mom, please wait a little longer. Once I'm back, our lives will get a little better. The allowance I get here is quite a lot." After hanging up, Shunsuke let out a deep sigh. Lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind raced with thoughts. He recalled the days he spent carrying out missions with his comrades during his time in the Special Forces. Back then, he was filled with confidence that he could accomplish anything. But after his father's sudden death and his mother's hospitalization, everything changed. Unable to cover the medical expenses, Shunsuke caused trouble within the unit, leading to his eventual reassignment. The gazes of his colleagues were a mix of pity and contempt. "Shunsuke, what happened to you?" "It was for my family. I had no choice." "Even so, as a soldier, shouldn't your mission come first?" Such words pressed down on Shunsuke's heart. In the end, Shunsuke volunteered for overseas deployment. He wanted to start anew in a different place, and above all, he needed to earn money for his family. Life at the African camp was monotonous. Guard duty, writing reports, and dealing with conflicts with local residents were all there was. Shunsuke just quietly performed the tasks assigned to him. He neither stood out nor caused trouble. One afternoon, Shunsuke returned from a patrol mission outside the camp. His entire body was drenched in sweat from the scorching sun. As he was about to take a shower, he heard a voice. It was a commotion coming from near the meeting hall inside the camp. Shunsuke stopped and looked in that direction. A young female merchant was surrounded by 4 soldiers' expressions were filled with lust, and the merchant faced them with anxious eyes. "You, a mere woman, telling us what to do. Go do some paperwork," one of them said rudely. Another forcefully grabbed the merchant's arm. "How about getting close to us? There are no ranks here." Shunsuke watched the scene for a moment, his mind racing. What if I interfere unnecessarily and cause more trouble? Considering my family, shouldn't I just stay quiet? But his feet were already moving in that direction. "Stop it." Shunsuke's voice was low but firm. The local soldiers all turned to look at him. "Who are you?" "I'm a soldier in uniform. This kind of behavior is a military offense." At his words, the local soldiers began to grow agitated. "You damn Japanese guy lecturing us. You mind your own business." One of them shoved Shunsuke's shoulder. Shunsuke stumbled back, but his expression didn't change. The female merchant looked at him with surprise. "It's okay. Please don't worry about me," she said in a small voice. But Shunsuke didn't move. The local soldiers became increasingly aggressive. "I told you to get lost." One of them swung his fist, but Shunsuke easily dodged the punch and grabbed the attacker's wrist. In an instant, Shunsuke subdued him with movements as fluid as flowing water. The surrounding area began to murmur. Shunsuke moved the female merchant to a safe spot. The merchant still looked at Shunsuke with surprise. "You're not an ordinary soldier, are you?" Shunsuke didn't reply. He just bowed his head quietly and left. However, this incident had already begun to spread throughout the camp. Shunsuke didn't know it, but this moment was the starting point that would completely change his life. That evening, the entire camp was abuzz with rumors. Stories of a Japanese staff sergeant quickly subduing local soldiers spread rapidly. Some hailed Kimura as a hero, while others labeled him a troublemaker who caused unnecessary conflict. Shunsuke sat quietly in his quarters. The sun was setting outside the window, and the murmurs from various parts of the camp reached his ears. Shunsuke pondered whether his actions were right. "I just did what any soldier should do. So why has it become such a complicated situation?" The next morning, Shunsuke was summoned by his superior. As he entered the operations room, a major sat behind his desk, smiling at Shunsuke. The major's face was filled with displeasure. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, explain yesterday's incident." The major's voice was stern. Shunsuke stood at attention and replied calmly, reporting. "Yesterday afternoon, a female merchant was being harassed by local soldiers. I observed the situation." "Observed?" "From what I heard, you interfered first and assaulted the local soldiers." Shunsuke remained silent for a moment. From the major's tone, he could sense that the conclusion had already been decided. It wasn't assault, it was minimal self-defense. The other party attacked first, and I defended myself. "Defense? Staff Sergeant Kimura, why did you get involved in that situation? Your mission is guard duty, not interfering with other unit members. And furthermore, this is a politically very sensitive location. Don't you understand how important relations with the local soldiers are?" The major's voice grew louder. Shunsuke lowered his head and replied, "I apologize. However, I couldn't just walk by when a colleague was in danger." "Colleague? Staff Sergeant Kimura, everyone here just needs to perform their own duties. What would you have done if your unnecessary heroism caused an international incident?" The local soldiers had filed a protest. "Because of you, our entire camp is in a difficult situation." Something surged within Shunsuke's chest. However, he maintained a calm expression outwardly. The major continued with a sigh. "You will be suspended for 1 week. And don't let anything like this happen again. Understood?" "Understood." Shunsuke bowed and left operations room. Walking down the corridor, Shunsuke's mind was in turmoil. What's the point of being a soldier if I can't protect people? Shunsuke repeated to himself. But reality wasn't that simple. Shunsuke spent his days of confinement alone in his small room. The sky outside the window was endlessly blue, but his heart was heavy. He thought of his family. If I cause trouble like this, will it affect my deployment allowance? What will happen to Mom and my brother? Anxiety overwhelmed Shunsuke. On the evening of the third day, the door quietly opened. When Shunsuke looked up, the female merchant he had saved that day was standing there. The merchant cautiously entered and stood before him. Up close, she was a young woman with tanned skin and deep eyes. "Excuse me," she asked in English. Shunsuke replied with silence. The merchant sat opposite Shunsuke and spoke. "I am Emily. Forgive my formal greeting. Thank you so much for that day." Emily's voice was filled with sincerity. Shunsuke was still at a loss for words. Emily continued, "I know this has caused trouble for you. I heard you were confined. I truly apologize for this happening, even after I reported it properly to the higher-ups. It's okay. It was my choice." Shunsuke finally spoke. Emily gazed intently at his face. "Why did you do that? You didn't even know me, so why did you risk danger to save me?" Shunsuke sank into thought for a moment. Why, indeed? Shunsuke himself didn't have a clear answer. He just couldn't walk away at that moment. He just couldn't. He believed that, as a soldier, he should protect people. Emily was deeply moved by Shunsuke's answer. Tears welled up in her eyes. "I always wanted to be recognized for my own abilities. But here, I was ignored and even threatened just because I'm a woman. Yet you, not knowing who I was, protected me. Thank you so much." Emily bowed her head. Shunsuke awkwardly averted his gaze. "I just did what I should have done. You must have a hard time too. No, you are the true soldier. I'm ashamed. I caused you trouble because I couldn't resolve it myself." Emily's voice was a mix of apology and gratitude. Seeing Emily like that, Shunsuke felt a sense of relief. He felt his actions hadn't been in vain. "It's okay. I'll be released soon, so don't worry about it. And please be careful from now on. This place is dangerous." Emily nodded and stood up. At the door, she turned back to Shunsuke one more time, a look of determination in her eyes. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, I will never forget you. I will definitely repay this debt someday." After Emily left, Shunsuke was alone again. But strangely, his heart felt lighter. He knew his actions had held great meaning for someone. Released from confinement, Shunsuke returned to his daily routine. But the atmosphere in the camp had changed. Some avoided him, while others looked at him with respect. He ignored all gazes and quietly performed his duties. One night, Shunsuke took out his satellite phone again. His mother's voice came through. "Shunsuke, are you doing well?" "Yes, Mom. I'm doing fine. Don't worry." "Oh, that's good. Your brother's tuition fees have been somehow resolved. The neighbor helped us out." Shunsuke's chest tightened. A feeling of gratitude washed over him, mingled with apology. "Mom, please wait a little longer. I'll definitely become a better person and come back." After hanging up, Shunsuke looked out the window. The African night sky, filled with stars, was breathtakingly beautiful. Looking at the stars, Shunsuke vowed to become a person who could stand proudly before his family someday. And that day was destined to come sooner than expected. 5 days had passed since his release from confinement. Shunsuke had returned to his routine guard duties, but the atmosphere in the camp remained awkward. Local soldiers would frown whenever they saw him, and some colleagues wouldn't even make eye contact. Shunsuke tried not to let it bother him. He was used to being alone. However, a sense of loneliness crept into his heart. Was what I did really the right thing? Or was it just unnecessary interference? He wondered. One afternoon, Shunsuke was returning from a patrol mission outside the camp. His throat was parched from the scorching sun, and he wanted to get back to his quarters and rest quickly. Just then, he heard a familiar voice from a distance. "Stop it. Let go of that hand." Shunsuke stopped. The voice was Emily's. Shunsuke quickly ran towards the sound. Near the warehouses at the back of the camp, Emily was surrounded by local soldiers again. "This time, no one's around. If you listen to us quietly, you won't get hurt," one of them said threateningly. Emily's face was pale, but her eyes were determined. "What are you doing now? This is a clear violation of military law." "Military law? Do you think that applies here? We're in charge here." Another man roughly grabbed Emily's arm. At that exact moment, Shunsuke stepped forward. "Let go of that hand." Shunsuke's voice was low but firm. The local soldiers all turned to look at Shunsuke. Their faces were a mix of surprise and anger. "You again? Damn Japanese guy, why do you keep interfering? I'm warning you. Let go of that hand and step back immediately." Shunsuke's tone was chillingly cold. One of the local soldiers drew a knife from his waist. "Think you're some kind of hero. You won't get away with this today." The atmosphere instantly changed drastically. Emily, trembling with fear, looked at Shunsuke. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, it's dangerous. Please, just go." But Shunsuke didn't move. Instead, he took a step forward. The local soldiers lunged at Shunsuke all at once. Shunsuke dodged the first blow and twisted the attacker's arm, but they were too many. The second soldier struck Shunsuke hard on the back. Shunsuke staggered, but quickly regained his footing. The third soldier swung the knife, and Shunsuke narrowly dodged it, but sustained a shallow wound on his arm. "Damn it!" Shunsuke gritted his teeth. But there were 4 of them, and they were becoming more aggressive. Shunsuke tried his best to protect Emily, but the numerical advantage was insurmountable. "You're going to resist until the end." One of them kicked Shunsuke hard in the side. Shunsuke fell to the ground, groaning in pain. Blood flowed from his mouth. Emily screamed and tried to run to him, but another soldier grabbed her. "Stop it! Please stop it!" Emily's voice was almost a scream. Shunsuke tried to get up, even as his vision blurred, but his body wouldn't obey. The local soldiers continued to beat Shunsuke relentlessly. "This time, we'll teach you a lesson, so you can never go against us again." One of them swung his leg again. At that exact moment, Emily screamed with all her might. "Stop it! I told you to stop right now." Emily's voice was so loud it echoed throughout the entire camp. The local soldiers froze for a moment and turned to look at Emily. Emily continued, her voice trembling. This person is my father's subordinate. Do you know who my father is? He's the highest commander of this camp." Instantly, the surroundings fell silent. The local soldiers' faces turned pale. They looked at each other with confused expressions. What? The commander's daughter. "Then you," Emily shouted, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I am Commander David Johnson's daughter. This person is a soldier my father occasionally looks after. You guys are in serious trouble now." The local soldiers began to back away. Their faces were filled with fear. Other soldiers, drawn by the commotion, began to gather. Shunsuke, lying on the ground, heard Emily's words through his blurred consciousness. The commander's daughter. His mind raced. So, the person I saved wasn't just a female merchant. Emily rushed to Shunsuke's side and supported him. Shunsuke's face was covered in blood, and his breathing was ragged. "Staff Sergeant, vanished. Emily hugged Shunsuke tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry. I'm truly sorry. It's all my fault that this happened. If I had revealed my identity from the beginning." But Shunsuke had already lost consciousness. The medics rushed over and placed Shunsuke on a stretcher. Emily walked beside him, shedding tears continuously. The entire camp began to stir. The fact that the commander's daughter was at the camp, and the rumor that a Japanese staff sergeant had saved her twice, spread like wildfire. 2 days later, Shunsuke woke up in the infirmary. The white fluorescent lights on the ceiling shone brightly. As he tried to move, pain shot through his entire body. His ribs ached, and the wound on his arm stung. "You're awake." A medic approached from beside him. Shunsuke nodded slowly. "Is this the infirmary?" "Yes. You've been asleep for 2 days. You have a fractured rib and a knife wound on your arm. Fortunately, it's not a serious injury," the medic said while checking his chart. Shunsuke slowly tried to recall his memories. He remembered being attacked while trying to protect Emily, and then he remembered Emily's words. The commander's daughter. "Are you all right?" Shunsuke asked cautiously. The medic smiled and nodded. "Of course. Staff Sergeant Emily is safe. She's been here the whole time but went to headquarters a little while ago. She'll be back soon." After the medic left, Shunsuke sat alone, lost in thought. The person I saved was the commander's daughter. What if I had known from the beginning? Shunsuke shook his head. I probably would have acted the same way. I believe people should be helped when they are in danger, regardless of who they are. About an hour later, the infirmary door quietly opened. Emily entered. Fatigue was evident on Emily's face, but a look of relief appeared when she saw Shunsuke awake. "Staff Sergeant, you're awake." Emily cautiously approached. Shunsuke tried to sit up, but Emily extended her hand and stopped him. "Don't move. You're still seriously injured." "It's okay. This much. You have a fractured rib and bruises all over your body." Emily's voice was filled with concern. Shunsuke looked at Emily from his bed. "As long as you're safe, that's all that matters. But, Staff Sergeant, you're so injured." Emily's eyes turned red. Shunsuke awkwardly averted his gaze. "I just did what any soldier should do. Just what any soldier should do. Staff Sergeant, I hid my true identity. I should have told you from the beginning, but I couldn't." Emily bowed her head. Shunsuke looked at Emily and asked quietly, "Why did you hide it?" "I wanted to be recognized for my own abilities, not as my father's daughter. I hated the label, commander's daughter. So I deliberately concealed my status and acted like an ordinary soldier, but it ended up causing trouble." Emily's voice trembled. Shunsuke could understand her feelings. "I understand your choice. The desire to be recognized for your own merit is something I can empathize with." At Shunsuke's words, Emily looked up. Her gaze was earnest. "But Staff Sergeant, you are already a fine soldier. You face that difficult situation with such composure. It should be one's actions, not their background, that should be the basis of evaluation." Emily was deeply moved by Shunsuke's words. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Staff Sergeant, you protected me without knowing my name or my background. You treated me as just a soldier. I can't express how grateful I am." Shunsuke's chest tightened as he saw Emily's tears. He realized anew how much his actions meant to someone. "Please don't cry. What I did was truly the right thing to do. And to be honest, I've had a similar experience." "A similar experience?" Emily asked, wiping her tears. Shunsuke hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "I was also in the Special Forces once. Have you heard of the Special Operations Group? It's Japan's top special unit. I'm from there." But due to family problems, I was reassigned and ended up here. People think I'm just an ordinary staff sergeant. Emily looked surprised. The Special Operations Group is a world-renowned special unit. So, Staff Sergeant, you've been hiding your past too. It's not that I was hiding it. I just didn't feel the need to talk about it. The present is more important than the past. What matters is who you are now. Emily deeply empathized with his words. The two sat in silence for a while. It wasn't an awkward silence. Rather, it was a warm silence of mutual understanding. Staff Sergeant, one promise, Emily said with a serious expression. I will never forget the debt I owe Staff Sergeant, and I will definitely repay it someday. I will let everyone know how wonderful a Staff Sergeant you are as a true soldier and a true person. Shunsuke shook his head. There's no need for that. I just did what I had to do. No, Staff Sergeant, you are a special person, and everyone should know that. My father must also know this. That Staff Sergeant saved my life twice. Determination was evident in Emily's gaze. Shunsuke could no longer object. He understood Emily's feelings. Just then, the infirmary door was violently flung open. A large, imposing man entered. The stars on his uniform told of his rank. It was Commander David Johnson. Commander Emily sighed when she saw her daughter. Emily quickly stood up and greeted her father. Father, I'm all right. All right. Do you know how shocked I was? When I heard you were attacked, how? The commander's voice trembled. He embraced his daughter. After a moment, the commander looked at Shunsuke lying on the bed. You are the Japanese soldier who saved my daughter. Shunsuke tried to get up from the bed, but his body wouldn't obey. The commander raised his hand and stopped him. Don't move. You are injured. I apologize. I should have properly greeted you. Greetings are not necessary. I heard you saved my daughter's life twice, and at the risk of your own life. The commander's voice was serious. Shunsuke replied calmly. I just did what any soldier should do. The commander looked at Shunsuke deeply. His gaze was filled with respect. The commander looked at Kimura for a long time. His eyes held deep gratitude along with a sharpness that seemed to be evaluating him. Shunsuke calmly accepted his gaze. Just what any soldier should do. Most people prioritize their own safety, especially soldiers deployed in foreign countries. But you were different, the commander said slowly. Emily stood next to her father and looked at Shunsuke. Yes, I just did what I had to do. My daughter was in danger, and I couldn't just ignore the situation. But you received punishment for that, and are injured like this. Can you still call it just what any soldier should do? Shunsuke fell silent for a moment at the commander's question. Then he slowly opened his mouth. Yes, I am from the Special Forces. The most important value I learned there was to protect my comrades. Rank, nationality, or background are not important. I believe soldiers should protect people. The commander's expression softened. Emily was deeply moved by Shunsuke's words again. The commander nodded and said, That's a noble belief. Staff Sergeant, soldiers like you are true soldiers. I have incurred a great debt from you. It's not a debt. Saving my daughter's life is a kindness that cannot be repaid with any words, and I am someone who knows how to repay a debt, the commander said resolutely. Shunsuke no longer argued. The commander turned to Emily and asked, Emily, have you found out who attacked you? Yes, Father. 4 local soldiers. Their identities have already been confirmed. Good. They will be immediately court-martialed and permanently expelled from this camp. The commander's voice was icy. Emily nodded. The commander looked back at Shunsuke. Staff Sergeant, your reprimand will be revoked, and a commendation for your courage will be prepared. You should be a role model for this camp. Shunsuke bowed. A commendation. I just did what I was supposed to do. That is not up for discussion. I, Staff Sergeant, am making this decision. What you did must be clearly recognized, and all the soldiers in this camp must know what a true soldier is. The commander's tone was firm. Shunsuke could no longer refuse. The commander embraced Emily once more, then left the room. Emily remained by Shunsuke's side. Staff Sergeant, Father is right. You deserve to be recognized. I don't want that. I just want to quietly carry out my duties, Shunsuke said honestly. Emily gently took Shunsuke's hand. I understand. That's just who you are. But this isn't just for you. It's for everyone in this camp. It's important to show that there are people like you. Shunsuke looked into Emily's eyes. Her gaze was earnest. Shunsuke slowly nodded. Several days passed. Shunsuke was recovering in the infirmary, and the entire camp was abuzz with the story of the Japanese self-defense force member who saved the commander's daughter. The way people looked at him had completely changed. It was filled with respect and admiration. One afternoon, Emily visited the infirmary again. There was a worried look on her face. Staff Sergeant, how are you feeling? Yes, I'm much better. I should be discharged soon. That's good. But there's something I need to tell you, Emily said cautiously. Shunsuke looked at her. What is it? Actually, those local soldiers are awaiting court-martial. However, we've received information that they are still targeting you. They intend to harm you before the trial. Shunsuke's expression hardened. Emily continued with a worried look. Father wanted to assign guards, but I stopped him because I thought you wouldn't want it. But please, be extremely careful. Thank you for your concern, but I'll be fine, Shunsuke replied calmly. Emily couldn't hide her worried expression. Staff Sergeant, this time they'll be much more thoroughly prepared. Please be careful. I understand. You take care too. After Emily left, Shunsuke looked out the window. The sky was still blue, but Shunsuke's heart was heavy. The battle wasn't over yet. That night, Shunsuke was discharged from the infirmary. His body hadn't fully recovered yet, but he couldn't just lie there any longer. On the way back to his quarters, Shunsuke cautiously scanned his surroundings. Suddenly, he felt a presence in the darkness. Shunsuke quickly hid himself. 4 shadows slowly approached. They were the local soldiers from before. He definitely came this way. Search for him. We'll finish this tonight, before the trial. Their voices were filled with malice. Shunsuke quietly took a breath and assessed the situation. All 4 were armed, and this time they seemed determined to kill him. He slowly backed away. However, due to his rib injury, his movements were sluggish. The gravel under his feet made a sound, and the local soldiers all turned in that direction at once. Over there! They lunged at him simultaneously. Shunsuke narrowly dodged, but he couldn't move as quickly as before in his current condition. One of them struck Shunsuke hard on the shoulder, and Shunsuke groaned. This time, we'll finish you for good. One of them drew a knife and lunged at Shunsuke. At that exact moment, a whistle was heard from a distance. A patrol unit was approaching, but this time, the local soldiers didn't back down. It doesn't matter. We'll end this today. They attacked Shunsuke even more aggressively. Shunsuke defended himself to the best of his ability, but his physical condition was not good. A fist struck Shunsuke's arm, and blood dripped down his hand, but Shunsuke didn't give up. The survival instincts he learned in the special forces took over his entire body. Dodging a knife, he quickly grabbed the attacker's wrist and twisted it. Ah! One of the local soldiers screamed and dropped the knife, but the remaining 3 3 attacked him simultaneously. Shunsuke backed away, looking around. There was nowhere to escape, and his physical condition continued to worsen. At that exact moment, the intense beam of a flashlight illuminated the scene. It wasn't a patrol unit. It was the commander's elite guard team. 6 armed soldiers aimed their weapons and surrounded the local soldiers. "Drop your weapons and get on the ground immediately." The head of the guard team's voice was cold and resolute. The local soldiers looked at each other, but in the surrounded situation, they couldn't resist. One by one, they dropped their weapons and lay on the ground. Shunsuke leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. Blood continued to flow from the wound on his arm, and his ribs ached again. One of the guard team members quickly rushed to Shunsuke's side. "Staff Sergeant, are you all right? We need to get you to the infirmary. It's okay. This much is..." Before Shunsuke could finish, his legs gave out. The guard team quickly supported Shunsuke. "Staff Sergeant, please don't overexert yourself. I'll take you." Shunsuke could no longer refuse. Supported by the guard team, he headed towards the infirmary. Behind them, he could hear the sound of the local soldiers being handcuffed and taken away. Upon arriving at the infirmary, the medic hurried over with a surprised expression. "Staff Sergeant, you're injured again. You were just discharged." "I apologize. There was a bit of trouble," Shunsuke said with a pained expression. The medic sighed and began to treat his wound. The cut on his arm wasn't deep, but it needed to be bandaged. About 30 minutes later, the infirmary door was violently flung open. Emily burst in, out of breath. Her face was pale, and her eyes were red. "Staff Sergeant," Emily rushed to Shunsuke's side. Shunsuke, sitting on the bed, looked at Emily. "I'm all right. It's not a serious injury." "Not serious. You have a knife wound on your arm." Emily's voice trembled. Shunsuke tried to calm Emily, but she continued to cry. "It's my fault. All of this happened because of me. If I had revealed my identity from the beginning, Staff Sergeant wouldn't have been injured like this. This is not your fault. They are the ones who are wrong," Shunsuke said resolutely. Emily shook her head. "No, I was cowardly. I used the excuse of not wanting to hide behind my father's name to conceal my identity, and because of that, Staff Sergeant had to face danger multiple times. I am truly the worst." Emily's voice was filled with self-reproach. Shunsuke remained silent for a moment. Then he slowly opened his mouth. "But you just wanted to be recognized for your own abilities. What's wrong with that? It's a noble attitude. It's not an easy decision to want to be independent without relying on your background." At Shunsuke's words, Emily looked up. Shunsuke continued. "I was the same. I lived hiding the fact that I was from the Special Forces because I wanted to be evaluated by who I am now, not by my past. I completely understand how you feel." Emily gradually calmed down as she listened to Shunsuke's words. Shunsuke looked at Emily with a gentle gaze. "And you know what? I don't regret it. I believe my choice was the right one, protecting you and protecting my beliefs as a soldier. That was the true soldier I had forgotten." Shunsuke's voice was calm but full of conviction. Emily looked into Shunsuke's eyes and was deeply moved. Tears flowed down her cheeks again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Staff Sergeant, thank you. Thank you so much. You showed me what a true soldier is." Emily firmly grasped Shunsuke's hand. Shunsuke smiled shyly. Just then, the infirmary door opened again. The commander entered. "Emily, you're here." The commander sighed when he saw his daughter. Then he looked at Shunsuke. "Staff Sergeant, I heard you were injured again. Are you all right?" "I apologize. I caused you concern." Shunsuke bowed his head. The commander waved his hand. "It's not not you who should apologize. I should have assigned guards beforehand. Emily said you wouldn't want it, but assigning the guard team in the end was the right decision. The commander looked at Emily. Emily lowered her head. Father, I was wrong. The safety of Staff Sergeant was the most important thing. I understand. Those men are finished. The court-martial will be held immediately tomorrow, and they will face imprisonment. The commander's voice was resolute. He looked back at Shunsuke. Staff Sergeant, there will be an official assembly tomorrow, a gathering of all the soldiers in the camp. There will be a special announcement for you. Yes, you'll find out tomorrow. For now, rest well. You deserve to rest. The commander said no more. He took Emily with him and left the infirmary. Shunsuke remained alone, looking at the ceiling. What will happen tomorrow? Shunsuke didn't know, but he had a premonition that something big was about to happen. That night, Shunsuke took out his satellite phone again. His mother's voice came through. Shunsuke, are you doing well? Yes, Mom, I'm doing fine. Oh, that's good. You'll be back soon, right? You said you'll be back soon. Yes, please wait a little longer. I'll be back soon. And Mom, I think I've finally become someone I'm not ashamed of. Shunsuke's voice trembled. His mother was silent for a moment, then said, Shunsuke, Mom has always been proud of you, no matter what you've done or where you are. Shunsuke's eyes welled up at his mother's words. After hanging up, Shunsuke looked at the stars outside the window. He felt as if everything would change tomorrow, and so he waited for the dawn. The next morning, the entire camp was filled with tension. At 10 a.m., an order was issued for all personnel to assemble. All the soldiers began to gather in the square. Hundreds of soldiers formed ranks, murmuring. Shunsuke left the infirmary and headed towards the square. His arm was bandaged, and his body was still stiff, but he could walk. Upon arriving at the square, all eyes turned to him. Over there, it's Kimura, Staff Sergeant, the one who saved the commander's daughter. They say he saved her life twice. He could hear people whispering. Shunsuke quietly took his position. After a while, the commander ascended the podium. The square fell silent for a moment. Today, I have gathered you here because there is a special announcement. The commander's voice echoed through the square. All the soldiers listened with bated breath. A few days ago, something very important happened at this camp. One soldier saved the life of a comrade, not once, but twice. Without any regard for his own safety, he fought solely to protect his comrade. The commander paused. All eyes in the square focused on the commander. That soldier is Staff Sergeant Shunsuke Kimura from Japan. Is Staff Sergeant Kimura, come forward. At the commander's words, the square erupted in murmurs. Shunsuke hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped forward. Hundreds of eyes followed Shunsuke. Standing before the podium, Shunsuke faced the commander at attention. Staff Sergeant Kimura, do you know who the person you saved was? The commander asked. Shunsuke nodded. Yes, sir. It was Staff Sergeant Emily. That's right. But Staff Sergeant Emily is not just an ordinary soldier. She is my daughter, Commander David Johnson's daughter. At the commander's words, the square buzzed again. Many had already heard rumors, but hearing it confirmed directly by the commander made it even more real. But Staff Sergeant Kimura did not know this fact. He risked his own life simply because a comrade was in danger, and he did it twice. The commander's voice grew stronger and stronger. Staff Sergeant Kimura was reprimanded. He was confined for clashing with local soldiers. But he did not complain. Instead, when my daughter was in danger again, he stepped forward once more, without even considering the punishment he might receive. The commander looked deeply at Shunsuke. Shunsuke calmly accepted his gaze. Soldiers. This is what a true soldier is. Someone who protects their comrades, regardless of rank, nationality, or background. Someone who chooses what is right over their own self-interest. Someone exactly like Staff Sergeant Shunsuke Kimura is a true soldier. The commander's voice resonated through the square. The soldiers began to clap, one by one. The sound of applause grew louder, and soon the entire square was filled with applause. Shunsuke felt awkward, but bowed his head to express his gratitude. The commander received something from a sergeant next to him. It was a medal. Staff Sergeant Shunsuke Kimura, in recognition of your courage and dedication, I award you the UN Peacekeeping Force's highest Medal of Honor. Shunsuke knelt as ordered. The commander attached the medal to his uniform. The shining medal adorned his chest. Staff Sergeant Shunsuke Kimura. As Shunsuke stood up, the commander bowed. All the soldiers in the square simultaneously bowed. Hundreds of hands moved towards the ground at the same time. Shunsuke's chest tightened. Had he ever dreamed of a moment like this? The commander gently patted Shunsuke's shoulder. Staff Sergeant, you are now a hero of this camp. Everyone respects you, but this is not the end. Yes. What do you mean? Shunsuke asked cautiously. The commander smiled. I have already contacted your superior command. I have reported your achievements in detail, and also the fact that you are from the Special Operations Group. Shunsuke's eyes widened. The commander continued. It is a waste to have talent like yours hidden away here. I believe the Japanese Ministry of Defense would think the same. When you return to Japan, there will be new opportunities waiting for you. Shunsuke was speechless. The commander firmly grasped Shunsuke's hand. Staff Sergeant, you are the savior of my daughter's life. I will never forget you, and I will do my best for your future. I promise. The commander's voice was filled with sincerity. Shunsuke bowed his head. These are too kind words. I just did what I was supposed to do. No, you did something special, and you deserve to be rewarded for it, the commander said resolutely. The soldiers in the square applauded again. Shunsuke looked around. Gazes of respect and admiration were directed at him. After the assembly, Emily visited Shunsuke. Her eyes were red again. Staff Sergeant, congratulations. Truly, congratulations. Emily said with all her heart. Shunsuke smiled shyly. It's all too much. You still say you just did what you were supposed to do. Emily interrupted his words. Shunsuke smiled. Emily grasped Shunsuke's hand. You taught me what a true soldier is, and you made me realize many things about myself. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's thanks to you that I was able to regain what I had forgotten. The two fell silent for a while. The warm African sun shone on them. Shunsuke felt something filling his chest deep inside. The pride he had lost for a long time, and his identity as a soldier. When you return to Japan, please contact me. I think I'll have a chance to visit Japan too. I will. Shunsuke nodded. Emily embraced Shunsuke one last time before turning away. Shunsuke smiled as he watched her retreating figure. This was the end of everything, and a new beginning awaited. 3 months passed. Shunsuke completed his overseas deployment in Africa and returned to Japan. Arriving at Narita Airport, Shunsuke breathed in the familiar Japanese air and felt a deep sense of relief. The long journey was over, and a new beginning awaited. His mother and brother were waiting at the airport exit. As soon as his mother saw Shunsuke, she burst into tears. Shunsuke embraced his mother. Shunsuke embraced his mother too, his eyes welling up. Mom, I'm home. I'm sorry I worried you. Yes, I was truly worried. Thank you for coming back safely. His brother also approached and put his arm around Shunsuke's shoulder. "Brother, you worked hard, but what's that on your chest? What is that?" His brother pointed to the medal on Shunsuke's uniform. Shunsuke smiled. "Yeah, I received it over there. It's nothing special." "Nothing special. Brother, you look so cool." In the car on the way home with his family, Shunsuke looked out the window. The streets of Tokyo were as lively as ever, with people living their own lives. The ordinary scenery felt incredibly comforting. Upon arriving home, a Japanese meal prepared with care by his mother was laid out on the table. Shunsuke ate Japanese food for the first time in a long time and had a happy expression on his face. "Mom, this is so delicious. I've missed this taste so much." "Yes, eat as much as you want." His mother stroked Shunsuke's head. Shunsuke shook his head. "No, Mom, it wasn't difficult. It had meaning. I found what I had forgotten there." "Oh, what did you find?" "Myself. I found myself as a true soldier." Shunsuke's voice was full of conviction. His mother looked at her son with pride. 2 days later, Shunsuke received orders to report to the Ministry of Defense. As he entered the Ministry of Defense building, he followed the directions to a conference room. Several high-ranking officers sat in the conference room, with a colonel standing in the center. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, please enter." The colonel greeted Shunsuke. Shunsuke bowed and stood in place. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, thank you for your service on the overseas deployment, and we express our deep gratitude for your performance there." At the colonel's words, the other officers nodded. Shunsuke replied humbly, "Thank you. I just did what I was supposed to do." "Just what you were supposed to do?" "No. We have received a detailed report from UN Command. The fact that you saved the commander's daughter twice and were seriously injured in the process." The colonel held up a document and showed it to him. Shunsuke remained silent. "We are also aware of the fact that you are from the Special Operations Group. Why have you hidden this fact until now?" "It's not that I was hiding it. I just believe that the present is more important than the past." The colonel nodded at his answer. "A commendable attitude. Staff Sergeant Kimura, we need people like you. That's why we set up this meeting today." The colonel paused. Shunsuke nervously awaited his next words. "Staff Sergeant Kimura, you are appointed as an instructor for the Special Mission Training and concurrently promoted to First Lieutenant. Your experience and abilities will be of great help in teaching our juniors." Shunsuke's eyes widened in surprise. "An instructor and promoted to First Lieutenant. Do I have that qualification, sir?" "Of course you do. You have proven in practice what a true soldier is and what it means to protect comrades. That is the most important value we must teach our juniors." At the colonel's words, the other officers applauded. Shunsuke's chest tightened. He couldn't believe he was being recognized again. "Thank you. I will do my best." Shunsuke bowed deeply. The colonel patted Shunsuke's shoulder. "I'm counting on you, First Lieutenant Kimura. No, from now on, I must call you Instructor Kimura." After the meeting ended, Shunsuke left the Ministry of Defense building. The sky was clear, and the warm sunlight shone on him. He took a deep breath. That night, Shunsuke informed his family. His mother shed tears of joy, and his brother cheered. "Brother, you were promoted, and to instructor too." "Yeah, unbelievable, right? I still can't quite believe it myself." "Brother, I'm really proud of you." His brother hugged Shunsuke. His mother also approached and held her son's hand. "Shunsuke, Mom has always been proud of you. But now, I'm even prouder. It's truly admirable that you've come this far without giving up." "Mom, I've finally become someone I'm not ashamed of. I can live as a proud soldier." Shunsuke's voice was full of conviction. His mother embraced her son, tears streaming down her face. A few days later, Shunsuke reported for duty at his new post. Dozens of young trainees waited in the training ground. Shunsuke stood before them. "Good morning. I am First Lieutenant Kimura. I will be your instructor from now on." Shunsuke's voice was firm but warm. The trainees focused their attention on Shunsuke. "What I want to teach you is not just simple combat techniques. I want to teach you what a true soldier is and what it means to protect comrades. I too lost my way once, but I found it again. I want you all to walk that path with me." The trainees listened to Shunsuke's words with serious expressions. Touching the UN Peacekeeping Force medal on his chest, Shunsuke thought, "This medal is not just a medal. It's proof of the path I've walked and the direction I must take from now on." That night, Shunsuke looked up at the star-filled sky again. He recalled the stars he saw in Africa. He also remembered Emily's face. "I wonder if she's doing well." Shunsuke's mobile phone rang. An email had arrived. The sender was Emily. "Dear First Lieutenant Kimura, how are you? I am still working in Africa. I heard the news about you. Congratulations on becoming an instructor. I believe you will be a wonderful instructor. I will contact you if I have the chance to visit Japan. Best regards, Emily." Shunsuke smiled and sent a reply. Then he looked up at the sky again. His life had completely changed from that one moment when he couldn't just walk away. He was no longer a soldier clinging to the military out of necessity. He had been reborn as a true soldier, recognized in the international community and respected in his homeland. Shunsuke placed his hand on his chest and vowed. From now on, he would convey this value to the juniors he would teach. That rank, background, and nationality are not important. What is important is the heart that protects people. That is the true form of a soldier. How did you find the story? Kimura's story makes us think a lot, especially how much one person's courage can change things. It is truly moving that Kimura, who was forced into a difficult situation due to family circumstances, was eventually recognized in the international unit and became a respected soldier in his homeland. Above all, the image of the soldier Kimura showed is impressive. His actions, driven by the belief of protecting others regardless of rank, nationality, or background, are a value we should all emulate. Even now, there are likely many people around us who, like Kimura, are quietly doing their best in their respective positions. We hope that such stories become known and that those people receive the respect and attention they deserve. We believe that by gathering everyone's interest and love, we can create a warmer world. Please share your thoughts in the comments. If you have experienced such a warm story around you, or if there is someone you want to express your gratitude to, such as a soldier who dedicates themselves silently, feel free to share. And if you found this video even slightly meaningful, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and set up notifications. Your small interest can empower us to deliver such important stories to more people. We'll see you next time with another warm and hopeful story. Thank you for watching until the end today. May today be a peaceful and happy day.